Hello and welcome to my channel In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and this is my weekly wonderings and wanderings. It is Sunday afternoon, but I'm gonna backtrack a little bit to yesterday because I am just now having a minute to sit down and film this introduction, but I did film some clips from the fun that we had yesterday on Saturday. We went to Maryland to visit my husband's family and celebrate my older son's birthday. And then my husband and I had a little date night and went to see a play adaptation of Persuasion in Baltimore. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the tape. Very late on Saturday. It's almost Sunday morning, but we just finished going to see Persuasion at the
emergency vehicle reported ahead.
There's a GPS lady at the Chesapeake Shakespeare Theater in Baltimore, downtown Baltimore. It was a little stressful getting to and from driving in the city, but on top of that, there was a concert or something at a nearby arena, and the traffic was insane. We literally showed up at the theater just as they were like doing all the preliminary, information about turning off your cell phone and all that kind of stuff. And we barely got to our seats in time for the show to start. But we did get there in time, and it was great. The acting was great, and they stuck to the storyline pretty much. There were a couple of small things they changed, like they took out Mrs. Smith completely as a character, but that was fine. And there was one small twist they did at the very end that was just kind of silly, but the crowd enjoyed it. It was funny. The only thing was that they had a very small cast, so each actor, well, most of the actors played multiple characters, and occasionally they even had to like cross-dress like a typical Shakespeare sort of thing and play the opposite gender role, which did create some amusing moments because of the casting. Anyway, it was kind of fun. They definitely played off of it, so it was fun. The actual Anne and Captain Wentworth characters, I thought they did a pretty good job of acting their story. Anne in particular, she was really good. One of the actresses, I should say, had a gorgeous voice, and they all did a little bit of singing here and there, typical play sort of singing throughout the course of it. But the scene where they're at the concert, one of the actresses sang a solo there. It was just really beautiful. She had a gorgeous voice. Anyway, it was overall very good. My husband has never read the book Persuasion, and he's never seen any of the adaptations or movies, so it was all brand new for him. Did you like it?
Yes.
He liked it well enough. I don't think it was his favorite or anything, but he enjoyed it. And we had like literally front row seats. That was amazing. We could see every facial expression. I even saw a little bit of spit on occasion. So we were up close and personal. That was pretty good. So anyway, that was our fun date for the evening, and now we're gonna go to bed. So we had a great time watching Persuasion, the stress of getting there to and from the city with the bad traffic was not great, but the actual play was pretty good. I will say, just a little bit more in-depth review. And I can't remember exactly what I said in my quick clip that I made with my initial reactions. So forgive me if I'm repeating myself. But I thought Anne and Captain Wentworth played their parts very well. There were a couple of scenes that happen in the book, and every single scene that involves Captain Wentworth and Anne is really important in that book because each one is needed. There's not a lot. So in order to really grasp the emotion that's taking place between Anne and Captain Wentworth, you have to have all of those scenes. But they, I think, were really restricted by time, first of all, of course, as well as casting. So they had a limited number of players, and the players that they did have, many of them were already playing multiple roles. And so I think some things weren't possible because like two characters were played by the same actor, and so they couldn't be in the same scene. So that resulted in some eliminations and deletions of certain scenes in the book that, in my opinion, are very important. One of them is when Anne is at Lyme and she sees Mr. Elliot for the first time, and he sees her, and he does this whole like thing at her, which makes Captain Wentworth go. And so that's really crucial because it signifies a turning point in the way Captain Wentworth perceives Anne from that point. And it's a big turning point for him. So it's kind of important. And I think that they recognize that, whoever adapted the play, adapted the novel for the play. I think whoever did it recognized that because they mention it in retrospect. But that's kind of weird because it didn't actually happen in the play. Like, they mention it happening, but we didn't see it happen. And I think it was because of that issue of characters being doubled up. So that was one scene that was omitted. And then another scene that was omitted because they didn't have any children acting at all. So the scene where Anne's nephew is climbing all over her while she's tending to her other nephew, and is also a really tender scene between Anne and Captain Wentworth, and is really full of a lot of strong emotion. That scene was also omitted. So obviously for logistical, practical purposes, they were omitted, but I did feel the lack of them. Harriet Smith was eliminated. I didn't feel the lack of that. I don't think she's really necessary to wrap the story up, especially the play version, which kind of truncates everything and summarizes stuff for the audience via narration by other characters or whatever. It was fine the way they worked it out. At the very end, they added this scene where, and this is how the whole play ended, which I thought was a little weird and not necessarily to my taste, but whatever. Captain Wentworth and Lady Dalrymple announce their engagement. And it's funny the way they do it. It's funny to start with because Lady Dalrymple is played by a man, you know, as it happens a lot in plays. So it was funny. Also, it was a little bit cheesy, so I didn't love that. Everything else was in very good taste. The play was very well done. Very minimal as far as staging goes and that kind of thing. But it was good. So I enjoyed it. We had a good time. They had upstairs a backdrop where you could get pictures taken in front of it. It was like supposed to be the grounds of Kellynch Hall. So like these garden walks. Anyway, they had this backdrop and they had some Regency costumes that you could put on over your clothes for your picture. And I think I was possibly the only person who availed myself of the actual dress, but I found one that I could put over my dress that I was wearing. It didn't look amazing, but you know, it was fun to do. And they had hats there and I intended to put one of the hats on, but I didn't. So I just forgot about it. So it's not as interesting, whatever. They also had at the bar for the refreshments, they had this specialty drink, which was called something about the first blush, past the first blush or something like that. So obviously a reference to Anne being past her first blush of youth. And it was really good. I got the mocktail version. It was strawberry with rhubarb. And then I forget
something else in there. And I think something that made it fizzy, like, I don't know if it was just club soda or something. I'm not really sure. But I can't remember. There was a third ingredient. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was any kind of like flavored soda. I think it was just regular sparkling, like club soda kind of thing. I feel like there was another flavor in there. Anyway, it was a pretty pink drink and it was delicious and I enjoyed it. And so yeah, that was our evening at the play, which was a lot of fun. I am currently reading The Mysteries of Udolpho, and I had mentioned before, when I read Rebecca Romney's book about Jane Austen's bookshelf, she talks about The Mysteries of Udolpho and the author Anne Radcliffe, and how she was so admired in her day for her poetic writing, the way she wrote her prose and her nature descriptions. That was one reason why she was so hugely popular, besides the fact that her Gothic stories were, all the rage, and she was writing in a popular style at the time. And I think that she kind of like really made the Gothic genre what it is. But people really loved her poetic prose and her nature descriptions, and she was highly praised for that in her time. And when I had read, what did I read by her? I forget. I read another book by her several years ago, and I kind of got a little bit impatient with all the nature descriptions. And I was just like, let's get to the story. And I know that some people have made that comment as well about Anne Radcliffe's books, that there's so much nature description, they just want to get to the story. So I determined this time, knowing that ahead of time, that I would just enjoy that, and that I would see the beauty in that prose that is creating these beautiful settings, or stark settings, or whatever, because she has currently in the book, I'm 5 chapters in, and they've experienced many different terrains and natural settings of different kinds. And she does really describe them quite beautifully. It is lovely nature writing and lovely travel writing, because our characters are traveling through France and Spain, and so there's just a lot of beautiful nature that they go through. They're right now they're going through part of the Alps range, and it's just really lovely nature descriptions and travel writing. And they go to these little villages along the way, and it's just, I'm really enjoying that. I'm enjoying it on purpose and not worried so much about the story or what's going to happen. I am just enjoying taking the time to get there and stopping to look at the beautiful nature along the way. I'm really enjoying Anne Radcliffe's very poetic approach to setting the scene with the nature writing. So I'm enjoying it on purpose and finding that it is really quite delightful. And so I'm about 5 chapters in on that one. And then I am reading Murder at Highbury, which is a kind of spin-off of Emma by Austen. It's written by Vanessa Kelly. There's a murder that happens in Highbury, and so, Emma gets all tangled up in it, not minding her own business, how Emma is. So Emma is actually a great person to have as like a amateur sleuth, because she is that kind of meddling sort of person who always wants to know what's going on. And it is very humorous. It's very interesting. I like how the relationship is portrayed between Emma and Mr. Knightley. And I'm about halfway through that book, so we'll see how I feel about it when I get to the end. But right now, I'm really enjoying it. And one of the reasons I'm reading it, it wasn't officially on my TBR for October. It actually was a potential TBR for September. I had gotten it from the library. It was just like on a whim, and so it's totally a mood read for me. But one other reason I'm reading it is because I want to give you a heads up. When this video goes live, it will be tomorrow. Tomorrow on Columbus Day, Kelly and I will be having a live chat at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we will be talking about cozy mysteries. And Kelly loves cozy mysteries. I have read some, but I don't have a lot of experience with the genre. I have enjoyed what I have read. It's just not something that I think of to reach for. So anyway, I wanted to read another cozy mystery prior to our conversation, so I would have more to talk about. So we're gonna have a coffee table chat tomorrow night, Columbus Day, 7 o'clock in the evening. So make sure to fix yourself a little snack and have a little coffee ready, tea if you must, but it is a coffee table chat. So I mean, anyways, but you're welcome. If you don't drink coffee, that's fine. Everybody's welcome. Can all can sit and chat. And I want everyone to be there in the comments and chatting about Cozy Mysteries. So whether you like or do not like Cozy Mysteries, join us in a conversation and tell us your thoughts, what you're thinking, because we're just going to sit around and chat books because that's what we like to do around here. So that is my first clip for this weekly reading vlog. And I'm sure I will be hopping back on here at some point this week and giving further updates about what has been going on in my life, reading and otherwise. And I will see you next time. Okay, it's Thursday night, and I apologize. I look like it's late in the day, and it is. It's almost 11 o'clock, and I need to go to bed, but I did finish reading Murder in Highbury early today. What is this? This is October, I don't even know, 8th, 7th, 8th. I started this book at the very beginning of October, thinking it would only take me a few days to read. It took me a whole stinking week. Not because it wasn't good or anything. It just, I didn't have time to read. So anyway, but I finally finished it. So now I can actually start reading my October reads, other than the Mysteries of Udolpho, which I am also reading. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I mean, you kind of have to like chuck reality at the door, okay? But it was good. It was fun. It's about Emma and Mr. Knightley after they're married, and there is a murder in the town, and because Mr. Knightley is the magistrate, he gets involved, and because Emma stumbles across the scene, she gets involved. From there, where it goes, not necessarily realistic, but that's fine. It's a fun ride. I enjoyed it overall. I had a couple minor complaints. One, the author, Vanessa, she kept doing some things like she had some like pet phrases that she used at least 10 times in the story. One of them was she wagged her hand, and the other was she flapped her hand, and then also people chopped their hands. Like, I'm guessing chop is like this, but that's weird. Wagged, I don't know, like this or like this, flapped, or like one time she said waved dismissively, which makes sense, like, you know, and it was appropriate in the context. But the others, it's like, what is she wagging her hand about, and why? I don't know. So that was a little weird, but otherwise it was good. It was fun. I think obviously it's not Austen, and it's not trying to be. I think that the relationship between Emma and Mr. Knightley in here is really cute. It was good. It wasn't like an amazing, fantastic, awesome book, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. So Murder in Highbury, 3 to 4 stars. You know, it was good. It was a fun time. And I finally finished volume 1 of The Mysteries of Udolpho. My goal was to finish it earlier this week. Did not happen, but I am really enjoying it. It definitely is very slowly developing this story. And there is a lot of time spent on scenery and settings and that sort of thing. I'm enjoying it. And unfortunately, though, it's like we keep getting hints of, you know, happiness for our main character, and then the happiness is snatched from her. And I'm at the point in the story where the happiness is being snatched from her, and I'm wondering how long we're going to be there. Like, I don't want to be in misery and down in the dumps for 3/4 of the book, but I'm afraid that's what's going to be happening here. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to love that aspect of it, but we'll see what happens and how things develop from here. And since I'm finished with Murder in Highbury, well, I will need to pick up soon Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But other than that, I think I will pick up The Secret Diaries of Charlotte Bronte, which you have probably seen my video where I ranked the books on my TBR
by first paragraph, and I chose The Secret Diaries of Charlotte Bronte, so I will be picking that up. Today was the last work day of the week. Tomorrow was supposed to be a professional development day at work, but the things didn't pan out for that to happen, so I actually get a day off tomorrow. And so we are going to go to our nephew is getting married on Saturday, so we're going to go there tomorrow and help out, get things set up, whatever, and then have the wedding on Saturday. So I do have a busy weekend, but I also will be in the car, and there probably is going to be some downtime, so I may have more time to read. So I'm kind of hoping for that, so I can get some significant reading done, but we shall see how things pan out. But that is all I have for now. I'll see you again in a little bit.
Okay, so I just went to the thrift store. My younger son needed a haircut, and right down the street from the hair salon was a thrift store. And I had needed to replace the wreath on my front door because the one I had before was all faded and the ribbon was like disintegrating and everything. So I needed a new one, but I hadn't had time to really find one. So they had this one for $7. It's more like a swag than a wreath. But the thing is, when I got one, it was only like $7. When I got home, like it has a little ring back here that you can't see. It's got a little ring where you hang it, but the ring was smaller than this wreath hanger that I have. So I had to use this ribbon and kind of jury rig a way to hang it on my wreath hanger. I thought I had a different wreath hanger that was more narrow, but I couldn't find it. So anyway, it's not perfect, but I like it. So it's on my front door now, and I have our welcome sign, and we have a couple pumpkins here, but don't look too close at this pumpkin because somehow it's rotting in the back, which is disgusting. So I kind of need to replace it, but yeah, haven't done that yet. And so I put it where the rotting place is in the back so you can't tell. And I also haven't had time to put any plants in these pots where obviously the plants that were in there died over the summer. And then the mums that I have are blooming beautifully. They got a little rained on, so the stems are kind of, I don't know, spread out a little bit. But so anyways, it's a beautiful fall day here in Virginia. We're going to be heading up to Maryland for my nephew's wedding. But just wanted to share with you my autumnal fun. So that's a wrap for this weekly Wonderings and Wonderings. And I have no idea what video I'm going to be posting this week at some point. I got nothing in the works at the moment. We shall see. But hopefully I'll show up at some point this week with some new fresh content. We'll find out. All right, so I hope you all are having a great week, and I hope that you have a great week ahead of you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.